Hi everybody, it's Kathy here from Kathy Loves a Scrap, and I'm coming to you from the land down under today, and it is the 25th, so that means it's a Christmas special today, and we're doing for September this layout here. It is from my recent holiday, and I was lucky enough to meet Mr. and Mrs. Claus. So I'm using some papers from a whole different range of papers that I've collected over time, and I'm looking at the colours from my photos to guide me. So this is a uniquely creative cut apart, which I'll use some of for this layout. I'm not sure exactly which bits until I move further in. I then have these cut aparts here, which I think I'm going to go one way and then I actually go a different way altogether. I pulled together a whole lot of ephemera around Christmas, and I use most of it on this layout. Some of it I don't, but most of it I do. I'll put that to the side for now. And then I've got these papers here, and I've used these ones because the colours match my photos and pull colours from the photos together along with the Christmas theme. I'm going to use a cream background because I want my photos to pop. And I have this beautiful background here from the Uniquely Creative papers, and I'm just going to cut out a frame from this because I like the other side and I will use the flowers on the other side. Now, as I said, I got to meet Mr. and Mrs. Claus. Well, they weren't really. It's Cindy and Mike, and we met them on the train going from Anchorage to Seward, and then we were on the same cruise, and it was their 40th anniversary. And I actually said to Mike in the train station, "Oh, you remind me of Santa Claus," and he said, "Well, actually, I am Santa Claus from the 1st of November to the 25th of December." And then they told us that that was their 40th anniversary and that they would be having photos dressed up as Santa and Mrs. Claus when we reached Glacier Bay and the Hubbard Glacier. So we became a bit of a friend group, and on that day we were able to get our photos with them up on the deck, and I'm glad we went up there because we were able to supply them with their photos for that memorable day. So I'm using those because everybody knows how much I love Santa, and it was such a thrill. I was so excited that I actually got to meet Santa, and we were there in such spectacular background. It looks like a postcard. I can guarantee that that is really what that looks like. That is actual footage from the glacier. So what I've done is I've cut out my base. I did a 1.5 inch cutout for my frame. I then cut an 11 by 11 out of the snowflake paper, and with the rosette flower paper I'm using it to create some photo corners, and I also added in a 6.5 by 6 rectangle for the backing of my photos. You will have noticed that I also double mount the smaller photo and triple mount the larger photo, and that's to draw your eye to the photos and lift them up off the background of this paper. So when you are putting a busy background together, it is always good to mount your photos and lift them up off that background and give them some definition. So as I said, I have an 11 by 11 square that I am now putting onto my 1.5 inch frame, and that's going to nestle nicely against that background. Now I've drawn in the cream colour and I've drawn in the blues. I'm adding in the greens, which you will see as the mountains and the landscape, also in the shading around the deck. So that's how I'm drawn the colours. Also Santa's vest and his holly on his hat, and in Mrs. Claus's hair, her holly wreath, they draw in those greens and make it all tie together. The photo corners, they're an old technique, but they always add something special to a layout, I feel. Now what I want to do, I want to put in some banners down the right-hand side, and I also want to have a landing shelf across the bottom for my photos to sit upon so that I can then build my clusters as well. This striped paper, which is already printed, works beautifully for this because I can mix and match and they are all of the same and they blend regardless of which way I place them on the page. And as you can see, I'm just mapping out where I want things to sit. I'm going to have this one here as a fishtail banner, and it's going to start from the rectangle that I had cut out there. Then I have another fishtail banner which is going to run the full length from the top of the page down to the bottom panel, and then I'm just going to have a plain strip running next to it. Across the bottom here, I'm also going to add in, like I said, a landing strip for my photos. So I've just placed in my two fishtail banners, and now I'm going to run across the page like a belly band or a landing band, and I'm actually going to do it in 3-level one so that it overlays and just adds some interest to the layout. Already you can see that it's coming together to be quite a cohesive layout, and the colours are just beautiful and they just look so nice and very traditional, which is good because he was wearing his traditional clothing and so was Cindy, and I still can't believe that I actually got to meet Mr. and Mrs. Claus and we were in the snow, sort of, with the glacier in the background, and it's just a spectacular photo, spectacular opportunity that I was very fortunate to have during my cruise. So these photos here come together. You can see how amazing the colours were that day. We were so blessed. It was a beautiful sunny day, but don't let that fool you because it really was cold near the glacier. At this time we had moved back out, and the boat had swung around, so the glacier was around at the back, and we were taking our photos as we were actually leaving Glacier Bay. So this, like I said, was memorable for both Cindy and Mike. Unfortunately for them, the cruise photographer was very expensive, like extremely expensive, and we helped them out by actually taking so many photos, and we're so grateful that we did because we were able to supply them with over 150 photos between the two of us, my friend and I. So lots and lots of photos, lots of special memories for them. It was lovely to share that experience with them, and like all the kids on the deck were so excited to see Santa Claus. And in another layout I'll explain of another special moment while they were out having their photos. But now let's get back to this and we'll have a look at what I've done. I've added in some scalloping down the side of those fishtail banners. That was just in the reds, picking up the really brilliant red of their clothing. I'm adding in the title Believe, and I've put in a postcard. Well, it was a postcard moment. I'm adding in some labels and tags at the top there to build some interest to that top part of the layout. I have these little quotes that say, please Santa, define good. I have another one with a ho ho ho, and then I also have hey Santa. Over to the right you can see that I have put it in a photo tab into there, and it says wonderful because, as I said, it really was wonderful. And I've just built up those clusters and put them in. As you can see, I've popped some stars with foam tape there just to build those clusters and add to that Christmassy feel of this layout. Going around my mat now, I'm just going to do some faux stitching, and I'm doing like a zigzag stitch, and that's just to finalize it off and finish it. I was looking a little bit flat. I could have distressed it with ink before I laid it down, but I thought that this zigzag stitching just marries nicely into the process, and it looks like the stitching on Mrs. Claus's cape. So there you have my layout. You can see my clusters there, you can see the banners in place, the photo corners, and how simply that has come together, but how effective because it draws on the colours from the layout, from the photos to build that layout. So here is my layout in completion. I hope there was something here that you like. It's another Christmas layout building into my Christmas collection. I'm sure there is something here that you find useful or a reminder of. If there is, give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to check out the playlist below. There is now a big playlist and a playlist that you can go onto. I'm Kathy from Kathy Loves to Scrap. As I said, leave likes to everybody. It lets YouTube know you want to see our content. If you haven't already thought about it, do subscribe. I'm trying to grow my channel. Give me a comment. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I always do appreciate the feedback. It's really helpful. I'm Kathy from Kathy Loves to Scrap. You find me on my socials under that brand, even on Instagram where all my layouts end up, even those without a video. Thanks for watching. Happy scrapping. Till next time.